Good afternoon, traders. This is Brian Weber. This is just another technical update for our morning analysis report, just to cover the euro dollar again. So, what have we saw in the euro dollar since the morning report? Well, we did break in towards that support point that I mentioned this morning at from the 130.15 down to the 129.90. Again, I was telling you guys to look out for buy signals within this zone around this region that the video was made here, right about here. Um, and therefore, we're going to look for divergence, price action, and price to re-enter this zone down here to try and get long. We should then target the daily pivot around the 130.28 mark, and then possibly the previous day's high around the 130.65, and even the weekly pivot at 130.75, which is just 10 pips higher. So what we saw in terms of trying to get into the market and get long, well, we had a little double dip, a little triple dip, if you like, since then. But overall, if you actually look at price action when it was attempting this 130.15 level down here, we actually got a couple of rejection spikes here on the candles. Okay, so price was coming down, it rejected, came down again, rejected again. We're getting lots of rejection spikes here. Not only that, the price was putting in the lower lows at this stage here. Okay, so right here we're getting lower lows, and the stochastic was putting in higher lows. So first of all, we could have got long there, but there's not a great deal of profit potential for your risk reward, because if you're going to get in the target, the first target is going to be the central pivot, and the second target is going to be the previous day's high at 130.65. Then this really from the 130.15 up to the central pivot is not really that great a deal. It's only about 10 to 15 pips profit, but the time you get in and pay your spread, it's not going to be a whole great deal. So basically, you're looking for a test of that 130.100 level, or even better, the 129.90 level to give you the signal. Now, if you look a little closer, we actually got that not that long after. So I just redraw the zone in here. Okay, so not long after, we got this bounce off of the 130.15. We bounced off of the first target area. Again, I didn't take that trade myself because it was too tight to the first target. The second trading opportunity came when price broke below that 130.15 level right here and headed down towards the 130.100 level. Okay, and once again, we were getting lots of rejection spikes. In fact, you can see the pin bar here this time. Okay, so a doji followed by a pin bar. And once again, I just draw in the first divergence, but we also get a second divergence here as price puts in another lower low here. Okay, so another lower low and another higher low on the stochastic. And that with the rejection candles was giving confidence for this time to get long in the market again and trade this up to central pivot. And you guys can see here that it actually busted through the central pivot and also the MS1 level and headed pretty much up towards that 130.40 level, which was giving a lot more profit potential on the second setup. Okay, so we had two setups, but only one setup did I actually trade because the first one was too tight. Too tight being we were too close to the target to make it a sensible trading opportunity. This one right here, off of the 130.15 up to the 130.28 was far too tight. Okay, so the second opportunity came down here with the rejection spikes at the 130.100 level. Again, we were getting the divergence signals to get long in the market and actually trade this up. So we managed to catch about a 20 to 25 pip move on the second setup here. Okay, so basically what we saw since then is a complete rejection off of the first target area. Since we spiked up, we came straight back below the first target area, so we haven't reached the second target area of 130.65. We've just had this rather large sell-off in the market all the way down to the lower support at the DS1, which is the 129.90 level. Okay, well, since then bounced off of that level there, but I have to say the euro is looking rather weak at this stage here because we felt basically each time that prices bounced off of the support, it's failed to print a new high. Okay, this is the high of the overnight session right here. Okay, this is midnight here, and we see price after midnight, puts in this high, it declines and it puts in this second high, a lower high here. But when we see the rejection off of the 130.15 level, we only put a high at the MS1 level, followed by price declining, putting in another lower low here, and coming up again. And this time it puts in a higher high previous than the other high, but it still hasn't beat this high or this high. Okay, so during the course of the European London session, we'll fail to print any higher highs on both rejections off the support, and that's looking rather big because each time the price bounces off support, it can't sustain the move. It can't sustain the buying pressure or the buying bias, the bullish bias. Okay, so for price to go up and put in a second higher high or beat the overnight session highs. Okay, what we have really needed to see here when we got a rejection here to show confidence in the market, when we got this high here and price then bounced down, for really the bullish momentum, the bullish bias to come back into the market, and for us to really believe that the European London session really had the bite to push price setting higher, we would have saw the higher high here, and then a rejection and another higher high. Okay, so two consecutive higher highs was showing a lot of confidence. But really all we have done is put in a third lower low here, and this is really putting on the dampener. So we have a lower low, lower high, lower low, higher high, but then a lower low. So three consecutive lower lows at this point here. And really the key to watch here now is, can we move back above that 130.15 level? Okay, because this is known as a particular pattern right here. When we've got three consecutive lower lows, then this stage right here, stage one, becomes a very important point. Okay, so the first lower low, the second lower low, and then the third lower low. If the third lower low comes back above the first lower low, then there is bullish momentum coming back into the market. And that lower low, the first low here, it pretty much ties in with that 130.15 support point. So really, what we're going to be looking for this afternoon is if price can come back above this level here. So the 130.15 is now going to be our bullish bias. If we can move back above that level, then the likelihood is we will break the central pivot and see higher prices. Okay, three lower lows. Okay, so if we come back above the 130.15 level and trade above that, then we'll probably see the central pivot being broke and prices heading higher towards the London close and going into the continuation of the North American session. All right. If we fail to see that, then obviously the 129 level is going to give way. Or the other scenario is, of course, we could just continue to trade within this range that price has pretty much been trading in all day. Okay, so we've got pretty much a range here. We could continue to trade in there, but we obviously want to see some breakouts so we can make some money. So the 129.90 is going to be our line in the sand to go short today. Just as it was this morning, nothing's changed there. That 129 still is the valid point to break today if we're going to see lower prices. Okay, so if we break below there, we're going to look for a pullback to the 129 or else the 130.100 level, and then we're going to look to get short. As long as we get the sell signal, we get short in the market and trade that down towards that 129.55 level right here. All right, we may even see lower prices down at the 129.24 level, but that's a bit of a push considering the European London session will be closing in about an hour and a half roughly. I know just been the North American session just opened, so really if we break the 129, I would just trade that down towards the 129.55. But overall, again, keep your eye on that 130.15 level right there, because again, this is a particular chart pattern right here. We've got three consecutive lower lows like that. Then this stage right here becomes very important. We draw a line there, and if it can come back above there and trade, then we should see higher prices, and then with the higher prices, that will officially be putting in the higher highs that we're actually looking for. Okay, guys, so again, the 130.15 level is crucial if we're going to see a bullish bias now for the rest of this session. We have to move back above there, trade above there, and then we'll probably see the daily pivot being broke, officially being broke, and a sustained move above that level, probably pushing us back up to yesterday's high at 130.65, 130.75. But again, if we fail to do that and we break below the DS1 level at 129.90, then we're going to look for a retest as resistance at one of these levels and look to get short, trade that down to the worst at 129.55.